Hello guys, welcome once again to Code with Destiny. So today we're going to be talking about a very important concept of programming called arrays. So what are arrays? Arrays are used for storing collections of objects. Let's say you have a group of cars and then you need to store them somehow. Instead of creating each car as an object and storing it differently, it's usually more convenient to store them in some kind of box or container. And then these containers in programming are called arrays. So we're going to Before I start writing code, I wanted to give you a high level, I don't know, overview of what arrays are in memory, because C++ usually work with memory. So imagine whenever you will talk of an array, think of, I don't know, because array is when elements of the same type are stored in contingent section of the memory. So let's imagine the memory. Oh, I haven't taken my pen. Uh-huh. So let's imagine the memory as a box where each row is a section where data can be stored. Each row is a section where data can be stored. So if we say an array of size 4, that means it is taking four 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 simultaneous section of memory. So it looks the memory allocator goes into the memory and then looks for the first four sections that are like free, and then that can occupy the size of this data type, four of them. So it gives us this. So if an integer occupy, let's say this is I don't know, 32 bits memory, and then they say each row here can take a 32-bit integer. So it looks for these four sections and gives it to like the program. So here now would be, because we have zero indexing, 0, 1, 2, 3. So this point here will be the first element. So these are the index, these are the indexes. Let me make it look like these are like index. Let me just call it I for indexes. And then this part are the actual data. So let's say we want to store, I don't know, our ages. Let's say 18, 20, 32, 50. So yeah. So when you try to get ages of 0, it will bring out 18. When you say ages of 3, it will give you 50. So these are like the indexes, and then these are the actual data. So so it's very important to picture this. Keep it in your mind that like arrays are stored in exactly the same part of the memory. The array objects are stored in the same part of the memory, and it has to be of the same data type. There is like the very important low level, I don't know. Okay, these are usually very high level. So these were like the low level implementation of arrays. I hope that helped. And now we'll go into the code, the actual code showing implementing this in C++. Okay, so declaring an array in C++ is very simple. You just write the type of the objects you want to be contained in the array, because arrays have to contain objects of the same data type. You can't just store a string, an integer, a char in the same array. It has to be different to be the same, sorry. So the type of the array, and then the name, let's just say cars, and then in square brackets you indicate the size, let's say 4 cars. So this is what we call declaration of an array. You have not initialized the array. You just say that this is a space in memory for 4 arrays, for 4 string objects, and then the name, that's the reference, is cars. So insert an element in this array now. what this does, it just, so inside an element in this array, you would say car of, if that is in square bracket, to access a particular position in the array. Car of, let's say, 0. That's the first element. Okay. I have to say that like arrays that use what they call zero indexing. It starts counting from 0. So like if you say an array of 4, size 4, to have indexes 0, 1, 2, 3. That's 4. 4 indexes because it starts from 0 is an error. It's a common problem when like for people that are starting out with this stuff. It's very important, very 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 important. That's from 0. Array of 0 will now be, let's say, maybe Mercedes or Benz. I don't have this. Mercedes on it. Yeah, Benz. And then yeah, so if you print out cars of, okay, let me try to print out cars of 0 now. To access this element now, it's just the same way you added it. This is a see how cars of 0. Here I wrote car. That was an error. You need to write the exact name of the massive. That's the array. So let me compile this and print and see. Why isn't taking this amount of time to compile? Alright, so say G plus plus minus O, locally run, what did I call the arrays? Plus 60. Compiles. Why is it taking this much time? Yeah, then run. So yeah, it gave us bins. So that is it. Also, you can also initialize an array. You can declare an array and initialize at the same time. The syntax is the type of the array, the name of the array, the size. This is actually optional, but it's encouraged when you're declaring it and initializing it at the same time. The size is optional to be written there. Because like yeah, the compiler is not that dumb. It knows that yeah, there are, let's say Volvo, okay, Volvo, I don't know, Toyota, uh, maybe Ferrari. I think he has double R there, and then Mazda. Okay, so now the compiler knows that there are 4 elements. If you try to insert some other stuff here, it will give you an error because we have already said that yeah contains just 4. So this is how you declare elements, initialize an array and declare an array at the same time. So to change any of these elements, you can just say car. Okay, let me print out one of them. Cars of. Let me try to get cars of 5. What do you think will happen? We can't. We say that there are just 4 elements. Now we're trying to get the 5th one. Oh, no, we're even trying to get the 6th because it's 0 indexing. So it will give us some either garbage or an error. It should give us an error. Okay, yeah, it doesn't bring nothing. Yeah, because we don't have a 6th element. We don't have a 6th element. So when you say cars of 5, it's actually giving you the 5th element because it starts counting from 0. When you say cars of 0, it gives you the first. Cars of 1 gives you the second. So if we want to get the last one, we'll say cars of 3. They should give us Mazda. We'll compile it. Yeah, so that's Mazda. We'll have Mazda there. We got a Mazda, so that's the last element. Another thing I want to quickly talk about is looping, changing an element. Let's say we want to change. We don't like this Toyota here. And I want to change to, let's say, something like Mercedes. So and that's cars of what 1. So say cars of one, and then it's equal to whatever new element we want, Mercedes. And then, yeah, that's just basically you've changed the Toyota to Mercedes now. So if you print out cars of two, no, it's not cars of two, cars of one, it should give you, yeah, Mercedes. I was like, what is happening? Why isn't it printing out Mercedes? So yeah, that's basically how you change an element in an array. Another thing I want to quickly talk about is looping an array. The best way for actually looping through an array is the for each loop instead of doing the traditional for that, because like sometimes you might not know exactly how long the massive is, if it was declared by someone else, or yeah, or that the size wasn't specified. Let's say here they didn't write the for, because this is still very okay because the compiler will know that you're there for elements. But if you don't know, you can just access all the elements using the for each loop. For string car, and I wanted to write Accra in cars, for car in cars, then just do whatever you want with the car. Let me just print them out, each of them in a new line. And yeah, we can see all our cars are listed here. This initial Mercedes, because I printed Mercedes before. So that's how you look through an array elements. You can see that I deleted the 4 here, but it didn't give us an error. That's to tell you that you don't need to specify the size when you are defining all the elements you need in like one line like this. But like if you didn't mention it, like the way I told you, like just declaring string, let's say dogs, or like no friends, friends, something like this, just declaring it like this. You have to specify the size in when you don't mention, like when you don't initialize it, so you have to mention like let's say 2 to tell the compiler that yeah, just give us for 2 spaces for strings and memory. Another thing I want to say is to get the length of an array, as to get the size of an array, you would do, you know, the size of function in C++, it gives us the size in bytes of a particular object. So if you check for the size of cars, it won't actually give us 4. You have to get the size of cars delete divided by the size of the first element. Let me explain. Okay, let me show you in code. Explanation will be like just flying through your head right now. Size of cars. If you do size of cars and print it out and run this, you see give us 128. 128 is a crazy amount of, but like it's not what we need. It is not what we need. So what you need to do here is divided by size of size of cars of 0. And yeah, we got our 4. So if you divide it by 4, I think it's 32. So 32 is the size of in bytes of each of these strings. So no, yeah, yeah. 32 times 4 is 128. So that's why it gave us 128. But when you divide the size of the cars by the size of one of the elements, you get the length of the array, that is the number of elements it contains. So Um, another thing I wanted to talk about is multi-dimensional arrays. Very important. Very important. Let's say I wanted to store something like a matrix. A matrix, you know, it's like a collection, but like 2-dimensional. So declaring a matrix as array, 2D array, is just the same way you a uh, declare a 1-dimensional array. So let's say ages. this would be like the rows, the number of rows, let's say 2, and then the number of columns 4. So this you have declared a 2 by 4 matrix, but everything will be 0 now. So let me try to print it for for int age in ages. Okay, no. This will actually confuse you for now. Let me later. I'll talk about how to access how to print out to the array. Okay, yeah. When you This is how you declare the array for 2-dimensional. So in case you want to declare them and specify everything at once, the same syntax, you just add your equal to sign here, equal to, and then do something like this. This is like the outer bracket, and then within each of them, within inside here is like an array of arrays. So you now have your first array that is 0, or I don't know, intelligence is so hyperactive today. So we are saying that in each of these will have 4 elements. So let's just say 1, 2, 3, 4, and then in the next one, wow, this thing is hyper, like over working overtime today. In the next one, in the next we have 3. I'm just randomly guessing numbers. Okay, so this is our 2D array. We can see that to get ages of 0 is 1. So like it's already showing us that everything we need to know how to access element here is like very clear. Since the usually it's not like it's the C++ plugin I installed that is showing us everything very clearly. So I highly recommend you install it to make your life easier. Because as programmers, we always want to make things easier for ourselves. Huh. So to access, let's say this 4 here, you can see it's ages of 0 of 2. So ages of 0, 0, 2. And then we'll print this out and we run. So yeah, I can see we got 4 in our terminal. So that's basically how you access these elements. I don't know, it has made everything in one line now, and that's usually not very clear. Or yeah. So printing, if we want 3D, is the same way that we declared the 2D. But like usually we don't need that. Let's say in ages, or let's say 2 rows, and then in each of these 2 rows we have 2 columns. Then each of these will have, let's say, maybe 3. Okay, let me not call it ages. Let me just say friends. Yeah, friends. What am I spelling? Friends. And then it's equal to. So we're saying that we have a very big array, and then in this array we have 2 other arrays within it. So we have our initial array, and then within it we have that is this 2, and then in each of these 2 we have 2s, and then in each of them we have 3 elements. So here will also be another one, and then within each of these curly bracket will have 3 elements. Let me just randomly do this. And then that, just randomly filling numbers. So yeah, this is it. And then don't forget your, oh, this is not putting in one line. This is gonna complicate stuff for us, but like yeah, walk around that. Okay, so as access this 54, We know that it is in friends of 0, of 0, of 2. That's friends of 0, of 0, of 2. So if you say print out friends of 0, of 0, of 2, that will give us, we compile that and we run from our before. That's friends of 0, 0, 2. So okay, looping through a for loop is something we usually looping through a 2D array is something we usually do a lot in algorithms, solving algorithm problems. I'll quickly demonstrate that here. So as I said earlier, using the for each loop is better for arrays. So what you will say for int, you use a pointer to the outer array, and then you need to specify this. Let me just say a group, and then this is like address of this, and then here you specify the size. In C++, you can't just write the massive like the name without specifying the size in loops. So you do this, and then within here for within each of these groups now, for each integer age, the names here I'm just using, you can use whatever name you like. The only important here is the ages. There's this ages here. The rest of them you can use whatever you want. In I'll print the age, and then let me make it look kind of good. Add space, and then after printing each of the rows, it will give us a new line to make it look like an actual array. So if you compile this, the compiling just, yeah, it's compiled. And we're running, yeah, and we can see 1 3 4 7. So yeah, 1 3 4 7 3 5 82 2. So I print out this row, then gives us a new line, and then print out the next row. So that's how you print a 2D array in C++. In other languages, in like Java, you could have done something like just integer array group, something like that. But like in C++, it says no, I have to know exactly how many you're printing, and then what type of element you're printing exactly. So zero is kind of more strict with things like this. I think that's all for today. Okay, so that's basically all you need to know about arrays to pass your interview questions, your I don't know, algorithm problems that require arrays. But like in the next chapters, we're going to talk about other data structures that are better than arrays. So arrays are good, but sometimes you need something else. You might need a certain map or whatever. So that's all you need to know for now about arrays. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Practice, practice, practice. It's very important. You can't just watch the videos and then just go back and sit down. Just practice problem. Now you know what arrays are. Use them with your data type, use them with strings, use them solve problems. Then before you know you're able to keep getting better and better. And yeah. See you in the next one. Thank you.